So I have a huge stack of books that I've been collecting for this event. Hey there, it's Mitzi. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm super excited to talk about the books I'll be reading for middle grade March. You know how much I love middle grade books if you follow this channel, and you know how much I enjoy middle grade March. This is going to be a whole month of reading middle grade books, and I'm super excited to talk to you about what I have planned. So these books are from my shelf. I decided this year the rule was I would only buy the group read because I do enjoy participating in the group read. And if you follow my channel, you know that I read a lot of vintage books that were written way back in the day. And I don't read a lot of the newer up and coming kind of books and the newer authors for middle grade. So I do like to participate in the group read because those are usually books that are recently published, and that kind of keeps me up on some of the newer books. That's a good way for me to get in some of those newer books. And by the way, I loved last year's group read. It was one of my favorite books I read last year. So of course I want to participate in that again. So I did pick up the group read for middle grade March, but the rest of these books I decided I would use only the books that I have on my shelf already for middle grade March. So middle grade March is a month-long reading of middle grade books. It's celebrating books written for ages about 8 to 14 in that age group. And there are 3 hosts. We have Krista from Books and Jams, Amanda from On the Middle Shelf, and Katie from Life Between Words. And so we have wonderful hosts. They are lovers of middle grade books, and they are knowledgeable on middle grade books, so they always have great suggestions. I'll leave links to all of their videos and announcements and things below. They actually have started a actual booktube channel just for middle grade March to keep it all together, but I will also link each one of them so you can go over and see things from the past that they've talked about with middle grade books, because they all 3 really read a lot of middle grade and they know more about it than I do. So I will make sure I link that below. But we also have a group read for middle grade March, and we have some prompts. So the group read this year, I'm really excited about this because this I think is nonfiction, and the cover's beautiful. It's called The Mona Lisa Vanishes by Nicholas Day, and I just loved the cover. I thought that was a beautiful cover, and if I was a kid I would definitely want to pick this one up. And because it's about the Mona Lisa, I think as a kid I would have wanted to read it just because of it being something about the Mona Lisa. But this says a legendary painter, a shocking heist, and the birth of a global celebrity. So I think it's about how the Mona Lisa actually became so famous as one of the best known pieces of art today. And so I'm excited to read this. It is something different because we normally read fiction, but I do like that we're trying something different. We're reading a nonfiction, and I don't read a lot of nonfiction, so I'm excited for that. So this is the one book that I did order immediately when they announced it. I ordered this one so that I could read the group read, because like I said last year, I loved, I think it was called A Rover Story. And I loved it. It was one of my favorite books I read last year. So I'm excited to try another one for the group read. Now they also have some prompts, and some of these books will fit the prompts and some will not. And maybe you know of a book that I have on my shelf that you've heard me mention that would fit one of these prompts. Let me know that. But I had pulled these books already before, well, a couple of them I added because of the prompts, but I had already pulled several books that I wanted to read during middle grade March. So these are the books that I'm excited about reading, and so why change it, you know, if these are the books I really want to read and they're middle grade books. But if they do fit a prompt, that's even better. So here are the prompts. The first prompt is a one-word title, and I do have some of those. Number 2 is a debut novel, so an author's first novel, a middle grade author's first novel, and that takes a little digging. So I could look through and see if any of these are debuts, or I might again have one, especially if I have a Newbery that I haven't read. I might could find one to squeeze in here because I do have, you know, Newberries. I'm going to read all the Newberries anyway because that's one of my challenges. So I might could do that. But anyway, a debut novel. Number 3, the third prompt is Immigration or Refugee Story. Number 4 is Animal on the Cover. That one's really an easy one. There's a lot of animals on covers. And number 5 is a book you feel you missed out on. And so that was easy for me because I have a lot of books. All of these books I feel like I've missed out on. So the first was one word title, and I immediately pulled this one because this is a trilogy. It's called, the first book is called Chains, and I have wanted to read this trilogy for a very long time, and I have 2 of the books. I think this is the first. It's Chains, Ashes, and Forge. I think that's the 3 titles. So any of them, no matter which one is first, would fit for this prompt. But I think Chains is first. So I'm excited for this because I do want to read this trilogy. I've heard great things about this one. And then another one, I bought this recently. I don't even think I've shared it. I shared a book haul not too long ago, and I had bought this, but I think I forgot to share it in the book haul. I think I'd already put it on my shelf. But that is Bambi by Felix Salten. And I have never read Bambi. Have you read it? But look at this beautiful cover. This is a very old vintage copy. Look at the inside of that. Isn't that just gorgeous? And so I just had to have this old copy. I went to, it's becoming my favorite bookstore because it's this used bookstore of a lot of antique vintage books, and they had this one and I just couldn't resist. So Bambi is a one-word title, so that definitely would work. It also would work for Animal on the Cover, of course, and a book you feel you missed out on because I've never read Bambi. All these years, you know, of course we've seen the cartoon, but I've never read the book, so I'm interested in reading this one. And it fits 3 different prompts. Now for Animal on the Cover, I had 3 that were in my stack. Like I said, I had a stack of books for Middle Grade March, and 3 of them have animals on the cover, so they would all fit. The first is The Labors of Hercules Bill, and Kate Howe had told me about this one. So this was the one that I really wanted to read. I had actually bought this book because she had talked about it, and so this one I'm definitely going to read. This is a priority, and it does have, I think there's a cat and a dog right here, and so it fits for Animal on the Cover. Another one is, this was a gifted book, so I definitely want to try to get to this one, and I've heard great things about this one too. It's called Love Ruby Lavender by Deborah Wiles, and there are chickens on the porch here, so that would definitely work. Again, let me know if you've read these because I've heard great things about them. The other one is another gifted book. I think my son gave me this for Christmas. And it's Aggie Morton, Mystery Queen, The Body Under the Piano. And if you look, there is a little puppy right there. So I thought, yep, that works too. So, and this also could work for March Mystery Madness because I'll be reading for that one as well. So this is a mystery I could include too. So these 3 will fit Animals on the Cover. Let me know if you've read any of these. And then I had a couple of books for the books you feel you missed out on. There are a lot of books I feel I've missed out on, but these were a couple that I've already purchased that were on my shelf. Well, one of them was gifted to me. This one was gifted to me just recently. It's What Katie Did at School by Susan Coolidge. Isn't this the most beautiful book you've ever seen? It's so pretty. But there is a whole series of What Katie Did books. I think there's a whole series of Katie Did books. So I definitely feel like I've missed out on that, and I really think I'll like this series. So I want to try to get to this one. And then this is one too that I have never read. Of course I've seen the little movie, but I've never read The Swiss Family Robinson. And I thought this would be a really fun one to read for March too. So I might try to get to this one as well. So I have lots of options. I have a couple of other books. Of course, I am hosting the Let's Read Nancy, the Nancy Drew books we're going through. We're going to try to do 1 through 10 at least, and we'll see how we go from there. And this month we read The Secret at Shadow Ranch. So for March, we'll be reading number 6, which is The Secret of Red Gate Farm. So we'll be reading this one. Look at that beauty. I love these covers. I just love these little books. but I probably have read this one. I can't remember, because I think I had read most of the Nancy Drew when I was a kid, so I probably read this one. But I loved the cover of that, of course, because you know me with the vintage. So I'll definitely be reading this because I am hosting the Nancy Drew read along. And if you want to participate, maybe you don't have a middle grade book that you are really interested in reading, but you would like to go back and read some of the Nancy Drew that you read maybe years ago, you can join us. I always have my email in the description box, and you can check it there. Email me and let me know if you would like to participate. Pick up number 6, which is The Secret of Redgate Farm, and you can read that for Middle Grade March. You can join us. We have our little group discussion on Voxer. Voxer is a free app. It doesn't take anything to join. All you do is just sign up and you create a handle. And so you would need to email me your handle to let me know who you are on Voxer so I can find you and include you in our group read of the Nancy Drew book. So, and even if you just want to read one Nancy Drew, you can just read that one and then just drop out of the group. That's fine too, because not everybody wants to read all of the Nancy Drew books like some of us. So I would love for you to hop on there and read one of the Nancy Drews with us. And this is a perfect time since it is Middle Grade March. And then I had one other book, Lunch Money by Andrew Clements. This is one of the books, I do think I missed out on this because both of my boys loved this book. I remember when they both read it, they just thought it was so good. And which they love all the Andrew Clements books I think they read, you know, in middle school. I loved Friendle by Andrew Clements. That was, I think, maybe that might have been his first book. I loved Friendle. I thought that was the best book. When I was a school teacher, I read that when it first came out and just loved it. And so I've always been an Andrew Clements fan, but I haven't read but a handful of his books. So since the boys love this one and I saw it at a thrift store, I picked this up to read too. So those are the books that I have on my TBR for Middle Grade March. Again, these are books that I already had. I didn't want to pick up any except for the group read. And by the way, I am really excited about the group read because that sounds really interesting. So let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know if you have any ideas on how any of these might fulfill some prompts. Maybe I missed one here or there. I know that I don't have anything for debut or immigration refugee story, because I don't think any of these have anything to do with that. But if you know of one that I've mentioned recently that's on my book cart or on my shelf, let me know. Again, I just don't want to go out and purchase anything, and I want to get some of these books read off of my shelf. So those are the books that I'm reading or plan to read for Middle Grade March. Are you participating? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.